All right, let's talk about CrewAI. It's getting a ton of buzz right now, and for a really good reason. It's trying to tackle one of the biggest, most frustrating problems in AI development.
You know the drill, right? You see this incredible demo of an AI agent doing something mind-blowing. But then, when you try to actually build a real product with it, it just falls apart. So what's the deal? Why is there this massive gap between a cool demo and an app you can actually rely on?
Well, it really all boils down to something we can call the AI prototype problem.
Okay, so this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the promise of these prototypes. They look amazing in demos, you can whip one up pretty quick, and they seem super smart when you give them a simple, straightforward task. But then, you hit the reality of production, and that's where the dream kind of dies. Performance gets flaky, trying to figure out what went wrong is a total nightmare, and as soon as you throw a complex multi-step job at it, it just fails.
And this quote from Eric Lapointe at CrewAI just hits the nail on the head. He says, prototyping is easy, production is where the real work begins. And that's it, right? Getting an AI to do something cool once is just an experiment. But getting it to do that same thing reliably, securely, over and over again at scale, that's a whole different ballgame. The industry is tired of experiments. It needs stuff that actually works in the real world.
So how do we fix this? How do we bridge that gap? Well, CrewAI's answer is a pretty big shift in how we think about the problem. It's about moving away from this idea of one single overworked AI and instead thinking in terms of AI teams. And this is the big idea right here. Think about it. A single AI trying to be a researcher, a writer, and a data analyst all at once, it's just set up to fail. But what if you had a team? What if you had a specialist for research, another one for writing, and a third for analysis all working together? All of a sudden, that huge, complex problem becomes way more manageable. And listen, this isn't just some cute analogy. We've got Andrew Ng, one of the biggest names in AI, saying that this is where the industry is heading. He calls them multi-agent systems, and it's all about building these AI teams that can automate complex jobs, pretty much the same way human expert teams do.
Okay, so this AI team idea sounds great, but how does CrewAI actually pull it off? Let's break down the building blocks.
First up, you've got the agent. And you can really think of this as your individual team member. But it's more than just an instruction. You give it an actual identity, a role, like senior market researcher, a specific goal to achieve, and even a little backstory to give it context. This turns it into a true specialist, laser-focused on being amazing at its one single job.
Then there's the task. This is basically the assignment you hand over to an agent. And it's not some vague request either. It's a super clear instruction with a full description and, this is crucial, a very specific expected outcome. This way, the agent knows exactly what done looks like for its piece of the puzzle.
And finally, you have the crew. This is your project manager, the orchestrator. The crew is what pulls it all together. It takes all your specialist agents, all your specific tasks, and manages how they collaborate. It handles passing work from one agent to the next and makes sure the whole team stays on track to hit that final goal.
So, we've got our agents, our tasks, and our crews. But how does this setup actually solve that big prototype to production problem we talked about at the start? Well, let's look at the features that are built specifically for getting this stuff deployed.
Yeah, this slide is super important. CrewAI isn't just about making agents talk to each other. It's about making them ready for prime time. Observability means you can see every single step an agent takes, which, let me tell you, is a lifesaver for debugging. Control gives you guardrails and even spots for a human to jump in and review things. All of this leads to repeatability, which means you can trust the system to give you consistent results. And finally, it's all designed for scalability, so the thing you build on your laptop can actually run at an enterprise level. And what's wild is how easy they make some of this powerful stuff. For instance, if you want to add full-blown tracing and observability to your entire crew, you can do it with just a single line of code. You can see it right there. This totally lowers the bar for developers, helping them build really solid systems from day one. And if you need a sign that the industry is taking this team-based approach seriously, here it is. This new course partnership between CrewAI and deeplearning.ai, that's a huge deal. It's a massive signal that multi-agent systems aren't just a fun experiment anymore. They're becoming a core skill for anyone building the next wave of AI apps.
Okay, but with any new tech, especially with this much hype, it's super important to get the full picture, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's see what some of the experts are saying about the real-world challenges.
And this is a really important dose of reality from Pradeep Sanyal. He's basically saying, hey, the vision is awesome, but the hype is getting way ahead of the actual tech.
He points out that these multi-agent systems still have real struggles with things like coordination and getting the same result every time. Frameworks like CrewAI are helping, for sure, but he's reminding us that we're still pretty early on this journey.
And on a more day-to-day level, there are a few common drawbacks to keep in mind. Some people find there's a bit of a learning curve to get everything set up just right. Your workflows can feel kind of slow if they're not configured properly. And like with a lot of open source tools, it's good to know what the defaults are. For example, it collects anonymous data by default to help the project improve, but you can and probably should know how to turn that off.
All right, so we've seen the power, but we've also seen the potential pitfalls. So how do you know if CrewAI is the right tool for your project?
This table lays it out pretty clearly. You should definitely look at CrewAI if you're trying to build complex automations with multiple agents, if you need that deep observability and governance, or if you're trying to build something that needs to go from a prototype all the way to an enterprise-scale application. It's built for that kind of heavy lifting. But if all you need is a simple single-agent script or a basic integration like a Zap, or you just need to make one direct API call, then a lighter tool is probably going to be faster and way more efficient. It's all about picking the right tool for the job.
And that really brings us to this final big picture question. A single AI can answer a question, right? It can write an email, it can generate a picture. We've seen that. But the question that CrewAI really forces us to ask is, what could an entire crew of them accomplish? And that's the jump from a simple tool to a genuine AI workforce. And that, right there, opens up a whole new world of what we can automate.